Well, the title assigned to me is Strengthening Resources and Expertise in Regulatory Body. And just now when Shafle was speaking, I was thinking that this lecture is already spoken by him. He has already indicated all the strengths. But in this whole hall, I am the only one authorized to speak on this topic with confidence, because I have gone around the regulatory table by 720 degrees. As a new entrant into NPCIL, I used to be sitting in the regulatory meetings on the back chairs, and one 360-degree round I made on the back chairs. Then I landed on the front table, handling different systems, from fuel to reactivity mechanism to reactor to coolant channels and so on. And I handled almost all the nuclear systems. And as it happened, I became the decision maker. So if today, if I say that AERB is not strong enough, I don't agree. If I knew that AERB is not strong enough, I had enough time and opportunity to correct it. I didn't find any gap. And the expertise, in fact, both the terms are synonymous. The resource in AERB is only the expertise it has in the people. And when I was heading this table, I didn't find any gap. So AERB, as per me, and I have the maximum experience with AERB from all sides, is a very strong regulatory body, and it has all the expertise gathered over years. Next slide, if you can help me. Well, you will not believe me because you will feel that I am biased. And therefore, I must tell you that in AERB, there is a book called Ethics of AERB. And the first thing everybody is told is that you must be objective. You should not be subjective. And this is what the book says. Objectivity is treating or dealing with facts without distortion by personal feelings or biases, and ability to evaluate information and arrive at decisions, taking all relevant points of view into account. So when I'm making this statement that AERB is a strong body, I am doing it very objectively. But I am aware that still you will have the doubts. But then let me first tell you what is required from AERB. Wait. Well, this I think is I will just repeat that the mission of AERB is very well known, safety from ionizing radiation. But the vision of AERB, which just now Chairman AERB also said that IMS is actually based on this vision. The vision of AERB is to be a knowledgeable organization of high international standards with state-of-the-art scientific capabilities, and to maintain high level of professionalism, credibility, transparency, and accountability in the domain of its regulatory responsibilities. That is the vision. And again, the ethics book says that you should have competence. Competence means having the requisite knowledge, abilities, and skills. In fact, IAEA calls these abilities as attitudes and skills to effectively discharge the assigned duties. The diversity of scientific disciplines involved in the evolving nature of the nuclear regulatory profession necessitates commitment to an appropriate level of knowledge that is to be achieved through formal education, work experience, professional training, and a continual learning process. And this is what AERB keeps on doing, and it was described in the earlier presentations. So formal education, work experience, Chairman told at the level 1, first promotion, what do you do, then work, then professional training, and a continual learning process. This is embedded in the competence of AERB staff. Well, to make it more objective, I will use what has been referred earlier. There was a third eye who looked at AERB. In 2015, IAEA's Integrated Regulatory Review Service, where a group of international regulators come, be at AERB for almost 2 weeks, sit in the meetings, go through your documents, talk to the people, see your total processes, and then give a report to IAEA and to AERB. And they follow one IAEA safety standard on this, which just now I've shown the picture. They follow exactly line by line whether we are meeting all the requirements in this regulatory document of IAEA. So at the end, they gave this certificate. India has established a unique training system at national level, since we are talking of competency, that supports competence building for its nuclear program, including the regulatory body. They appreciated the total training program which we have for NPCIL, for BRC and all, and the regulatory body. The scope and depth of IARB recruitment and training program is effective in maintaining a knowledgeable technical staff. I am again giving two of the clauses which they were referring when they made this comment from that IAEA GSR Part 1. So based on that, their recommendation was, they made a recommendation further, which I'll be discussing later in the later slides. The AERB should fully develop its recently initiated process to analyze the competence. At that time, we were, again, going through the process of competence of individuals. And competence needs to secure the essential knowledge, skills, and the abilities needed to regulate NPPs. So they said that you must do the competence analysis, which was going on. They have also acknowledged that is going on. And they also said that AERB does not have competences in the areas of human organizational factors and the area of public communications, which was felt that we don't need this because we are dealing with the organization, as we said, which has the same gene, passed through the same training program, same culture, we know them very well. But they made this requirement very strongly, they made this remark at that time. And they said AERB should consider ensuring that a sufficient number of specialist competence, knowledge and skills and abilities in the area of, again, human and organizational factors. They said this is what is missing. And we took time to appreciate this. We, in fact, invited some experts to deliver lectures to us from IITs and other places. And ultimately, Shukla ji himself became a trainer for this subject. Well, this is what they said on competencies for AERB. Then they have to do a follow-up mission to see whether we have actually attended to what recommendations and suggestions they gave. So the follow-up mission was in year 2022. This was just after Fukushima. And they were quite happy that AERB has not only the intent of the recommendations have been met, the suggestions they have made had been met, whatever could be done within AERB has been done. What is beyond AERB, Government of India has to do is still pending. There is one or two recommendations. So after the IRS mission in 2015, AERB completed the competency mapping exercise, which was going on at that time. AERB competence mapping assessed was based on IAEA guidelines and the organizational structures of the time. This is their statement. In 2016, the AERB management acted on the gap analysis and initiated training activities for the existing staff according to the identified training needs. Training activities are ongoing to fill the previously identified gaps. So this is the statement they made. However, the competency mapping should be periodically reviewed in order to be updated if the case be. Based on the identified competencies, AERB developed and implemented a technical authorization program, which again, Chairman had mentioned, that individuals are authorized to do a certain activity. There is a method to identify the skills of individuals, and he is assigned those assignments as per his skills. So this is what they noticed, and in the follow-up mission, which again was a long time, they were in AERB, this is what they assessed. In the follow-up mission, AERB also offered to them what was not offered earlier, the regulation of radiation facilities. Earlier they had looked at only the nuclear power plant facilities, but radiation facilities were also offered, and they were very impressed. In fact, most of the regulatory bodies of the world do not regulate this. most of them. They are actually left by health ministries or, it is divided between the states and partly done by the main regulator, so it's all confusion. But in India, this is 100% done by AERB again. Over the time, it has been taken over from BRC. So they made this statement. IRS identified a good practice in relation to the integration of regulatory processes within e-LORA. I will shortly talk of that. An online platform used by the applicants, authorized parties, and AERB. e-LORA significantly improves the efficiency of managing the information to be submitted by an applicant authorized party based on a graded approach. Well, just to brief you, regulation of radiation facilities is, in fact, the biggest job in the hand of AERB. It is very large volumes. Every day, on an average, you get 200 to 300 applications which you need to attend to. And since they come from private parties, they come from industries, the hospitals, and so on places, there are very pressing and committed schedules for licensing. And as it happens, the equipment models keep on changing. The X-ray machine, which was there a few months ago, a new model has come. CT machines, PET CT. Today now we have this proton therapy. So the type approvals take a lot of expertise of AERB to approve the new equipments which come. Once the type approvals are there, then there's a graded approach that the same type, if people want to have, then the licensing becomes easy. Inspection load is also very high because these facilities are in the nook and corner of the country. They are in the streets today. And the inspection which AERB plans is a very time-consuming and manpower-consuming activity. And then resolution of observations. This is the area where the awareness about radiations is less. Awareness is in some pockets. And you often come across people who have seen high radiation in a dental X-ray, as low as dental X-ray. And therefore, resolving these issues, and resolving means they were not aware that what they are doing is wrong. So it essentially means awareness programs. In fact, the inspection program of AERB in this area is actually called awareness program, Jagrukta Kam. So it is not called inspection, it is called awareness program, even though we know that they are doing something wrong. So this is a very big job, and this is being done in AERB by a e-governance system, e-LORA, where a total thing is handled online. People apply online, they are getting a password, they apply online, their applications are reviewed in a time-bound manner. Time is specified that your application will take this much of time. And in fact, the first job every day Chairman AERB has to see is this list, whether we are moving on schedule. He monitors this every day. The safety regulatory process in India has been existing right from inception of DAE. This we heard in the morning. Many stalwarts carefully established the safety regulatory processes. As the formal regulatory processes converged to create AERB, these stalwarts, some indirectly and others directly, as full-time participants, brought up, supported, and catalyzed the development of AERB organization as it stands now. But now, AERB is, in this mode of development, has, over the time, issued regulatory safety documents like codes and practices. When I say in this mode means a lot of support came from those stalwarts to create these documents. It was assisted by AERB staff, but they were not in the front. Laying down the safety requirements to be met, nuclear and radiation facilities along with guidance for utilities to meet the requirements of safety guides. AERB over the years has consistently demonstrated its capability of regulating full spectrum of activities from site evaluation onwards to full life of operation, including, at times you are all aware, analyzing some events of unpredictable nature. We had Kakrapar event. The whole world could not predict how it happened, and it was resolved. Challenging safety posed at operating facilities. AERB has demonstrated experience of regulating new technologies. We did VVR, we are doing PFBR, any new technology for that matter. A variety of all sectors it regulates, like for nuclear power, fuel cycle of FBTR, has been fully established and it is reviewed by AERB, and for application of radiations in medical and industrial fields. So that is the strength of AERB. It can do variety of things, spectrum. But now AERB has entered into 40th year, as Chairman mentioned. Entering the realm of life after 40 for all of us, when we were at 40, or many of us are entering into this stage, for an individual person is often accompanied by a sense of introspection and contemplation. You always feel that, you have been supported by your parents, your grandparents. Time has come now to speak out yourself. It applies to AERB. It applies to AERB too and marks a significant milestone where experiences, wisdom, and self-discovery converge to induce AERB to demonstrate that the organization has come of age. And that is where the integrated management system has been created. And it defines that you are taking advice from outside, but decision-making body is you. Because now you have experience of 40 years. So there's a marked shift now in AERB. As it happens in life, you respect your grandparents, but then you start taking decisions of your life. AERB in the last 40 years has competent staff with required knowledge, skills, abilities, and attitudes, as AERB calls it, IAA calls it, for all nuclear and regulatory work. The academic qualifications mix in science and technology, and some additional persons also have degrees in law. And law is very essential when you are dealing in this domain, is of high order. And many people are PhDs and MTechs and all that, and they do a lot of fundamental research work also. The skills, abilities, and attitudes acquired by them from many years of close observations and interactions with experts are of high order, with desired breadth and depth acquired for day-to-day regulatory work. The participation of experts, including from technical support organizations for specialty domains, however, this is indispensable. This will have to continue. But the decision makers will have to be now the staff which is 40 years and beyond. So in this background, if this is the strength, the question posed to me is, where to strengthen AERB resources further? And my answer is no, it is strong. I think the question has been posed in the context of expected rapid increase, which has been mentioned since morning, of the capacity of nuclear power to minimize carbon footprint. In doing so, at an enlarged scale, certain organizational and business model changes at the utilities may be a complex, challenging environment for the regulator. So far, we were dealing with the same basket of people whom we have grown, we were trained together. They understand us, we understand them. But now the scenario may change. The arrangement is established collective responsibility of safety between AERB and the present utilities may require to be re-established with the new setups. So that is where maybe additional strengthening is required. And then when we look back at IRRS, messages, some of them apply now. At that time, we were wondering why they are saying so many things. And this, I think we know. I will not say net zero by 2070 and Viksit Bharat by 2047. And looking ahead on implementation of these two goals of the country, what seems to be on the horizon is additional fleets of 700 megawatt units, PWRs from France and US and Russia, of course, we are doing already, upcoming designs of BSMR, BSR, and possibly other types of SMRs, FBRs, metallic fueled FBRs, and so on. So many things are today on the horizon. New technologies. And AERB is capable of handling any new technology. But induction of joint venture companies, private investors in existing utility arrangements is an area which may need some shift, which has been mentioned already by Chairman AERB also. The areas to strengthen resources and expertise in AERB are the following expectations, and these are my concluding slides. So when we talk of diverse, type of technologies coming up, this will need adding manpower at various levels and expertise and training and requisite professional development. this will be not only at a regulator, it will be also at the NPCIL end or the utility end. A lot of new manpower will get added. And you may find that the new projects, the new completed stations are being actually managed by a very young team, which doesn't have that 40 years of experience. And the same thing may happen at AERB to maybe a lesser extent, that a lot of new people, and therefore more emphasis has to be placed on their qualification, training, and all that. AERB, along with its TSOs, is prepared for this transformative scenario. So we have to take help of TSO quite a bit to see that we keep the strengths developed in the elder generation together for supporting these new people. Again, when we look at IRS AERB recommendation of 2015, the scope and depth of AERB recruitment and training programs is worthy of attention of other regulatory bodies. In fact, somewhere I was not in 2015 when this IRS took place in AERB, but I happened to meet these people, some of them in some meetings later on at IAEA. They said, we are trying to follow your model, but it is difficult. Because our utilities are not in as much, we are not in as much good communication as you are. You are able to post your people for 3 years, 5 years to a power plant. We are not able to. They don't let our people go in. So they want to follow our model. That is the recommendation or the comment they made. Again, talking of the fleets which are coming, if we again look at IRS 2015, one of the messages, the AERB should establish guidance for individual staff members for implementation of graded approach. And Shuklaji will remember, we discussed this in a big meeting at AERB, called almost all the staff, and we got, it was looking like an elephant. Everybody had a different meaning of graded approach. And thereafter, Present Chairman AERB made a lot of efforts, and today a document exists on graded approach. This will become very important. For example, when we say fleet of 700 megawatt unit, a unit which has been authorized once, and if the utility does not change even a nut there, those modules have to be cleared just like that. Any new change. So this graded approach, in graded approach, if I take a minute, the whole regulation is actually defense in depth. But this defense in depth is for the utility. You regulate, you ask him that we will be regulating like this. For AERB, the defense in depth has to be seen from bottom up. The AERB's scope is that public should not get radiation. Therefore, level 5 is most important. Any event which can challenge or give radiation to the public has to get the highest priority. Then comes level 4, where you can have some severe accident type of situations that should be avoided, and therefore you must pay maximum attention to those. And then comes level 3. Level 1 and 2, anyway, utility will work very strongly because they want to generate power and very reliably. They don't want to even have the shutdown. So they will work on systems which have a lot of margins, a lot of strengths. We are going to look at those, but emphasis is on level 3, 4, 5, and that is the graded approach. And today this has been built up very thoroughly in AERB's approach. Now comes the next tricky area, where joint venture companies and private investors, they will invest money. Maybe the utility is still the same, or it may be a joint venture company. We do not know how the shape will be. But again, we look at IRS 2015. They sounded us. The AERB should review organizational changes of NPPs and develop internal procedures to assess whether the licensee's organizational changes are planned, categorized, implemented, and monitored in a manner that does not compromise safety. Now, this is a big question mark today. And I know that between 2015 to 2022, we defended that NPCIL does not make any ad hoc changes in their organization. We know the organization very well. They don't make changes, so this does not apply. But today we know that this applies to us. And this is an area which I think needs some rethinking. Chairman has already mentioned the areas in his talk. And the areas are, the AERB should consider implementing its safety culture review process. ARB has done its own safety culture review, but I think this is becoming more important now for the utility. And we have been saying, Mr. Chande has been saying that this is beyond ARB, that is up to the utility. But now I think with these new arrangements coming up, attention has to be more focused on the safety culture of the new utilities which are coming. The ARB should consider ensuring that a sufficient number of staff with specialized competence, knowledge, skills and abilities in the area of human and organizational factors and communications are available. This is what IRR said. And we were not able to appreciate. Of course, we did some training programs and all that, but today it has become very relevant for us. They were talking from their experiences in their country, but today it applies to us, where we know that when organizations are merged, Indian Airlines and Air India merged, and finally they had to sell the company. They could not manage. And now again we know some mergers are giving trouble. It has happened on international levels. So this is area which is of concern, and I don't have ready answers, but ARB has to apply its mind. This needs some strengthening in our approach. We have been so far, qualifying, say, operators. And there's a process of regulation, qualification of the operators. But I think this has to spill over to now qualification of quality assurance people in the organization, maybe qualifying the designers who take the decisions, whether the equipment is going, right equipment of right quality is going that. So far, I remember earlier chairman have been saying, no, NPC is doing its function very right. But I think we have to expand like other countries have done it. USNRC has done it, for example. Again, the ARB should consider continuing reviewing and, when appropriate, revising regulatory guides, regulations and guides to ensure consistency with IAEA safety standards. This is what they said in now, I think, 22 after the review. This again, as chairman explained, that our whole guides and codes have come knowing the people, knowing the technology. And now the technology is changing and the people are changing. And therefore, it is becoming much more relevant. Many of our guides can be questioned legally. And we know what problems we face when we are doing radiation equipment with the private parties. They question some of our regulations. And we keep on making corrections. Some of the regulations we have overnight changed in that. Same thing may happen here. So it needs a total language revision, codes and guides, chairman has already mentioned. So this is one of the major areas which is going to take a lot of time also for ARB. So when we look at future, yes, we need some strengthening. And ARB is capable of doing this. That is the strength in the DAE system all put together. We have a lot of experts to handle this. I think this I've already covered indirectly. Scope of inspections and functions to be covered during inspections may need a review. So far, again, inspections are having some element of trust. But this needs to be extended to other areas of quality assurance and maybe the review of the head office also, which ARB has started doing, but this has to be made much more effective. Thank you.